I've spent a bit of time looking at investigating why people react the way they do on social media, and it's never for the reason you think it is. They just need to not insult other people.
I
don't
agree.
you don't create network participation and a thriving network by insulting people who don't share your view.
Welcome to Dream Richer. Today, Raoul Pal gives a very strong message on the worst things he hates about Bitcoin. He even goes as far as to say that these things could slow the mass adoption of Bitcoin. Raoul Pal argues that the Bitcoin community has grown to become too toxic. This all started with a simple tweet Raoul Pal sent out, asking whether or not people agree on the longevity of Ethereum, just like Bitcoin. In turn, he saw a very strong backlash from the Bitcoin maximalist, arguing that there can never be another coin beside Bitcoin. They go as far as to say that all other coins are shitcoins and as such should remain out of the question altogether. The reason why Bitcoin maximalists believe Bitcoin to be the one true digital savior of the future is because of how decentralized it is and how its protocol cannot be changed to suit the needs of the so-called elites. Although Raoul Pal agrees with having a philosophy when it comes to investing, but turning it into a religion and cult is what the Bitcoin maxists need to avoid. If you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe. Let's get right into it.
It became obvious to me that Bitcoin doesn't solve every problem. It solves certain problems really well, and others it doesn't solve as well. So that was really my evolution. And then as the space broadened out, you realized, okay, this is an incredibly deep, fast-moving space with so many applications that it doesn't make sense to be all on one blockchain. If you address it philosophically, that's fine, but we also have to address it as investors. So predictability itself does not necessarily generate superior returns. I mean, and so that's how I look at the ecosystem. I look at network adoption. Now, whether that's Ethereum or Solana or NFTs or any part of the ecosystem, and use that as my guide, because what I'm trying to do here is capitalize on participating in a technological revolution. Some of that is money, and that can be separated out. I can just own some Bitcoin. But like we do with US treasuries, we don't own them all the time, because there are times when you want to go out the risk curve and times when you want to come further closer to the risk curve. But I think over time, these things will be proven out and where they fit in the ecosystem. And, Ethereum's network adoption has been faster than Bitcoin recently. So we've seen that growth. Will that play out in the next 5 years? No clue. But our job really is to find that. Having a philosophy doesn't really help you as an investor. However, I also believe that, because every time I've seen people with an anti-Fed philosophy or an anti-this or a pro-that, they always get killed. There is a difference in this space because the technology is integrated with the network itself. So people can be philosophical builders on this network because they want to build a better future. And that's great. And I completely encourage that. Mm-hmm. But don't criticize somebody else for not sharing this philosophy, and that if you don't, then you're a heathen. That smacks to me of religion, and it's not. That shouldn't come into investing. To create the internet of value, which is distributed, giving ownership back to the individual away from giant corporations, is something that the whole space is building towards. So that philosophy, everybody shares, which is interesting, versus the specific philosophies of different protocols. I don't believe in a winning blockchain. I think it shifts over time. I believe in interoperability and the fact that we will choose to trade off. Let's say we want to give out some NFTs to Real Vision users. Now, we might not use Ethereum because it's going to cost us $250 to mint. So maybe we use another chain. But if it's interoperable, you can then store it in your Ethereum wallet.
As Raoul Pal argues, forming strong communities and making one thing the primary focus has always been in the blood of humans. Because humans love the comfort zone, and having an outspoken community caters to that. But it's not always a good thing. As Mr. Raoul argues, they no longer remain a community, but turn into a cult when they begin attacking others. This is especially true for Bitcoin investing and maximalism. As he puts it, this won't always be the case. when the next best opportunity comes along and Raoul chooses to move on from Ethereum. He expects to see the same backlash come from Ethereum maxis, like we currently see with Bitcoin.
Again, I think we're so used to the monopolistic tendencies of large corporations who can create moats that we forget that this is almost the opposite, and we don't know what the outcomes are, and that's half the excitement of the space, is not knowing. I kind of think that each individual network has its narratives and sub-narratives. If that narrative is attractive enough to enough people, it will grow as a network. And if it's not attractive, it won't grow as a network. So Shiba Inu is unlikely to grow as a network over time unless it has a network utility, which it currently doesn't have. So in which case, interest dies over time. So it's the same if somebody sees something as too centralized and the crowd, the hive mind of people involved in this, decide that that's not what they want. They will migrate to a chain that has more decentralization. So again, I don't think it's up to us to say, but we can choose the ecosystem we want. So I choose to be a more active participant in the Ethereum ecosystem because of how it treats its network participants, which is less combative than those in the Bitcoin ecosystem. That will change over time too. Narrative shift, people shifts, that kind of stuff. But, I think we tend to coalesce around places, networks that we feel suit our needs. And if the market decides that decentralization, the ultimate decentralization is the need, they will coalesce around Bitcoin. If they don't, they won't. I've spent a bit of time looking at investigating why people react the way they do on social media. And it's never for the reason you think it is. I had this once, I got involved in anti-climate change Twitter. And I actually singled off a few people to have a conversation. Like, what is it that you actually fear? Why will you not take Pascal's dilemma? Why will you not think that the upside of less pollution and greening takes away the catastrophic downside? Why would you not take that bet? And the answer came back from many people is, we don't want our gas prices to rise, and we don't want them to increase our tax on our petrol. So what it was actually an economic situation that has spilled over into a philosophical situation. And I think we'll probably see the same in Bitcoin, where many people have got into that network, they believe in it as their store of money, and they don't like it if it gets threatened because they don't have a lot of money. They just need to not insult other people. You don't create network participation and a thriving network by insulting people who don't share your view. Some Bitcoin, I love Bitcoin people who believe in the philosophy, want to work for that world. I love it. I can hold the view in my head of hyper Bitcoinization. I can hold that view and I have no issue with it. But on Twitter, which is many people's on-ramp, if you're attacking them, then you're not going to on-ramp them. It's really that straightforward.
It's clear from Raoul Pal's take on Bitcoin that insulting others is never the way to go about network adoption. If anything, this stops the network from growing as fast as it could. The Bitcoin Reddit is a classic example of toxic Bitcoin maximalism. This is what a longtime user within that community had to say. For every positive comment about a coin, there are two filled with hate for it. For every question, there are answers, but also comments about how the original poster should already know the answer. A lot of people expect everyone on the community to know everything about crypto, although it is known that many people here are new to the scene and can't tell the difference between a coin and a token. Investing should be a place where everyone can help each other level up, instead of being criticized and put down. Do you agree with Raoul Pal's opinion? Do you agree with what he said? Let us know in comments below. See you in the next video.